Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of RPG Radio. My name is Winback, and on today's episode we're going to be talking about Helltides. Helltides are an endgame mechanic in Diablo IV, and they are built around the open world, as well as opening chests and getting unique materials to the Helltide to open those chests for specific gear. Probably a bit more complicated than you're thinking, but let's hop right into it. So at face value, the Helltide event is a region-spanning event that is going to change the landscape of parts of each region on the overworld into what are called Helltides. The Helltides are skies darken, raining fire, demons everywhere, lots more demonic enemies, in conjunction with your regular region enemies. And there are going to be sporadic chests dropped without the region as well. Now this is only in the overworld, so if you go into a dungeon or you go into a cellar, if you go anywhere that leaves the open world of the map, you are going to exit the Helltide. That means that you are not going to be able to gather the resource specific to the Helltide, which is the aberrant cinders. Now, we'll talk about those in a sec, but just remember, importantly, you want to stay on the overworld. You want to be doing things that interact with the demons, the monsters of the Helltide. You want to be farming those cinders, and you want to be doing events. You want to be doing as much in the overworld as possible, because leaving it is going to make things not good. So, there you go. There are also a bunch of other things going on while the Helltide is in progress, meaning that, like I said, the demons that aren't specific to your region are going to start popping up. There's going to be cultists, there's going to be succubi, there's going to be oppressors, lots of fallen. There are times where cultists will summon big elite demons from straight from the depths of hell, and those guys typically will drop big chunks of aberrant cinders. On top of that, there are special ore veins during the Helltide that come directly from hell that will drop aberrant cinders, and special crafting material that you cannot get unless you are in the Helltide finding those screaming, I think they're screaming ore veins, I think that's what they're called, but they are specific to the event, and that is the only way that you can farm the material that comes from them. In addition to all these demonic hordes rising up from the underworld to try to take over Sanctuary, they are all going to be levels higher than you as well. During the Helltide, monsters will typically be about 2 levels higher than your character, making them more advantageous for XP farming and ultimately more difficult for your character to kill. Couple that with the fact that you'll be running into other players in the overworld pretty consistently, I'd say, probably more often than not. You have the opportunity to get the party XP, but also party buff the monsters that are trying to kill you. Death isn't obviously permanent if you're playing on an eternal character, but death is still important in the Helltides because your aberrant cinders, your materials that you're picking up here, can be partially lost on death. If you are all stocked up like I was before this point, you saw that we dropped about from 30 to 14. You lose about half. I think you lose about half of your cinders when you die in the Helltide. So if you're getting caught off guard by big CC chains, or you've got a whole bunch of stupid goatmen flinging ice missiles at you and stun locking you for the big boy to just flap you with some big goat axe, then you may want to rethink your strategy. You may want to come in with some buddies, or you may just want to avoid that area of the Helltide altogether. Enemies here are more difficult for a reason. That being said, it's not something that you typically have to avoid unless you run into the Helltide Commander. I think that's what they're called. But we'll talk about that more in a second. I should probably stop beating around the bush, though, and let's talk about the Aberrant Cinders. The mechanic, the big thing that you'll want to be chasing while you're doing the Helltide. Helltides last an hour long, and that may or may not be already going when you log into the server. So if you're already playing for quite a bit and they pop up, you got a whole hour to go. Sometimes you might only have half hour. Sometimes you only might have a 15-minute window. So if you are going to farm monsters, you need to know about what they are going to drop and how to most efficiently spend it. The Aberrant Cinders are a currency that you'll get during the Helltide event as drops, and those are used to pay to open chests that are only available during the Helltide. The chests, good news is that they are visible on the map, so you can pull up the map, you can mouse over whichever chest that you are looking at, and it'll tell you whether they are a chest of protection, a chest of jewelry, a chest of weaponry, or a chest of mysteries. And all of those things come with their own costs. Each of these chests has a unique cost to opening them and what you're going to get with them. Weaponry is typically the most expensive, with the chest of mysteries, which is a gamble chest, being pretty far up there as well. Your jewelry chests are typically just under that, and then protection, which is the armor, are going to be below that. So your weaponry can go anywhere from like 125 to 175 cinders you need. Same with mysteries. But if you're target farming specific types of gear, you know what to go after. So the weaponry and the mystery chests are 175. Amulets, jewelry, usually 125. And then your armor is going to be 75. I think 50 is out there as well, but I'm not sure if that's, I'm just imagining things, or if that's real. You tell me in the comments if you find one. Otherwise, I may just be having a psychotic episode. So, all that being said, there is quite a few different things to know about the chests. When you open them, when you pay the price, there is a very good chance to get a legendary item from the chest that you're going for. So again, if you're target farming a specific type of gear, you'll want to, hunt down that chest, and you have a pretty decent chance of getting a legendary item. But they will typically, at least in World Tier 3, they will drop sacred items no matter what. So all that being said, you can get the sacred legendary if the going is good during the Helltide with the right box. The mysteries chest also drops quite a bit more stuff, I think, than your other chest. But again, it's a gamble. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what's going to pop out of there. Chances are it's going to be pretty good stuff, but it may not be stuff that you're actually looking for. So it is the most expensive chest that there is out there. So just remember, if you're going to farm that, don't die. And oh yeah, the mystery chest actually does not show up on the map when you are not close to it. Your character has to actually be physically close to the mystery chest for it to show up on the map. So once you start doing your exploring, if you find a chest of mysteries and you want to open it, you're going to want to farm around that area so you don't lose it. Or just ping it, I guess. That's an option too. You can ping with right click on the overworld map and always come back to it, but yeah, so keep an eye on the mystery chest if you find it, because they can get away from you pretty quickly. Now, the chests, the Aberrant Cinders, and all that stuff is going to be the main easy farming mechanic for the Helltide event, but because it is the open world, you should still be working towards doing open world quests. There are going to be times where your Tree of Whispers bounties overlap with the Helltide, and that is a super efficient use of your Helltide time, because you can get Whispers done on the overworld map. Obviously not ones in dungeons or in cellars, but you can still get the Tree of Whispers done with your Helltide and just farm out of control fast. That being said, there are a couple other things that go on in the Helltide, but I will warn you now, as a person who has been playing this game for a considerable amount of time over the past 2 weeks, the Helltide events are, by comparison to the other endgame events, they're probably my least favorite to do, and they definitely feel lacking in comparison to the rewards of the others. So with your world bosses, you have your weekly guaranteed legendary caches, as well as, you know, the boss dropping a legendary. Lots of good things come from world bosses. Your Tree of Whispers is incredibly easy to do. It is spanning the entire world sometimes, and you're going to get renown while you do those quests. Very, very potent for endgame leveling. Your nightmare dungeons are always giving you glyph ammo or XP. They're giving you, you know, the same rewards that regular dungeons are doing, except more XP, and you're, you know, likely to get more unique items. Nightmare dungeons are just, they're top tier endgame farming, if we're being honest. But Helltides, compared to everything else, are they're definitely bottom of the rung. If there is a Helltide going on, I'll debate whether or not I really need to do it, and kind of decide from there. The horrible, sad truth of it is that the Helltides, they have a lot of really cool mechanics to bring players together, but because so many players are just not really into grouping up with others out in the big open world, there is sometimes that lack of cooperation can really make things unfun. And what I mean by that is specifically the bosses in the Helltide event, which are specific to the Helltide event. Now, the Helltide commanders are going to be specific, unique bosses that come out during the Helltide. They shoot out of these big hell portals, and they're basically world bosses on a smaller scale. So you'll fight them in the open world, but they are huge. They have huge health bars. They have a timer on them, so you have to kill them within a specific time frame, or they will just peace out. They'll be like, haha, you suck, see you later. When you kill them, they will drop a ton of aberrant cinders, and they will drop materials like fiend roses and forgotten souls, which are very important for legendary crafting and imprinting and all that stuff with your end game gear. So they are incredibly worth it to kill. The problem with them is that getting enough people in a group to kill them is kind of difficult. So unless you are pushing, you know, like level 70 or 80 DPS, you will likely not be able to kill the Helltide commanders when they pop up, unless you are partied up and you run into another party. Like I said, it's basically a smaller world boss, and you need a bunch of people to do it. On top of that, there is there's another boss. I don't know if it's a Helltide commander, but it's specifically labeled the Helltide Assassin. It's a level 72 monster. It's a huge bug called Kixarth, and it is it's going to be basically roaming around the Helltide event, and it will literally chase you down and try to kill you. It also has the health of basically a world boss when you try to fight against it, but that's also because it is a stagnant level 72 enemy. So when you fight with Kixarth, you're always going to be underleveled unless you have hit that 70 capstone and you have the right stuff to fight back. It is a wickedly difficult fight, but he is always out there, and I assume when you kill him, he is full of just as juicy rewards as the commanders. Still trying to get that achievement done on my own, but, you know, it's kind of difficult at the moment because we're only level 60-ish at the recording of this video, so a level 72 Mega Monster is not really in my ballpark yet for completion. which is sad. It's just another reason that the Helltide is like, ah, man, I don't love this. If I was higher level, maybe, but at the moment, it's just not my cup of tea. And to be honest with you, there's really not a whole lot more to it than that. The Helltide events they're tough. If you're going into a Helltide event with a just plain old level 50 or 51 character coming right out of that capstone dungeon, you don't have any sacreds farmed, you're not quite ready for tier 3, but you're like, whatever, I'm gonna do it because it's an event and I want to do it, you may be in for a little bit of a shock. That first Helltide that you do is going to be the best one that you'll have, I promise you, because all of them after that are like, oh, I get the loop. We'll see. I do want to go into this with a full party and see if we can find another full party of people to, you know, ultimately eat that Helltide commander and kill the assassin, but unfortunately it's tough to get that to happen, because even if you manage to get a full party of 4 people, you still have to find another party of at least a couple, or maybe just a couple solo people who will come and you know, do the thing. But I don't know, it's just a little bit disappointing all around. Not that it's a bad mechanic, I definitely like its inclusion. It makes the player interact with the open world more, but it definitely feels like it is lacking in at least a few features, and the Helltide commanders really don't appear as often as I'd like them to. Or maybe I wish they were just easier to find, because I can find Kixarth, the assassin, all day long, but the actual commanders, the big, you know, hell portals, that stuff is a little bit tougher, unless I just don't know the specific mechanic to find them, if there is one. But yeah, if you're doing a Helltide for the first time, be careful. When I did it for the first time, I died a lot. I've had buddies as well playing along with me, going into their first Helltide and just dying over and over and over again, and you don't want to do that, because like I said earlier, you're dropping aberrant cinders when you die, and usually it comes out to about half. You're losing half of your currency for one death, and when you have a guy like this big stupid bugman hopping all over the place, forcing you to use all of your potions and chunking your health bar at a, you know, a glance, dying is very easy. So it's, look at him, he's just so buggy, and it's like a scyther if they were just doing heroin their entire life. But yeah, that's Helltides in a nutshell. This video is going to be pretty short because Helltides in general are a pretty short mechanic. They don't have a whole lot of complexity. It's just farm gear, farm cinders, do stuff, and make sure, if you can, that you're farming Tree of Whisper bounties on top of your Helltide open world goodness. There is a lot of efficiency to be done with the Helltide, but if you're just doing the Helltide for the sake of the Helltide, it's kind of, there's better things to do, I promise. Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. Let me know how you feel about the video. Am I completely wrong about this event? Do I misrepresent everything that it is? Have you had more success with what's going on? Let me know. If you made it this far in the video, I'm so proud of you. I'll see you next time. Bye.